you, Dan. Yep, my name is Steve Botica, so that's got that right. From the Ministry for the Environment. I'm the manager, Lucas. I will have been in July this year the manager, Lucas, for about 3 years. So the project was underway before I came into the role. Lucas is the land use carbon analysis system, and its primary purpose, in fact, its core deliverable, was to meet the Kyoto obligations and the LULUCF reporting in the National Inventory Report. And we're obviously in the commitment period, 2008 to 2012, and that's benchmarked against 1990. So we've actually presented the final draft of that first report to the team who pulls that whole National Inventory Report together. There's probably some, in terms of Lucas, there's a couple of things that you can boil things down to. I mean, essentially we're looking to do something as simple as this. We're looking at the tonnes of carbon per hectare and then multiplying it by the number of hectares to come up with a value for New Zealand. And that's costing about $68 million. And it's taken us about 9 years. We started before the commitment period and we're travelling through to a few years after the commitment period ends. That's a lot of money, and when the government signed up to that, they got some undertakings from the Ministry for the Environment that we would do some all-of-government benefits. And I think some of those all-of-government benefits are particularly relevant to this group. One of them I'll get Andrew to talk about shortly, which is what we're doing for biodiversity collection when we go out and do field work for our carbon measurements in the plots. There is a bit of a misconception potentially about the crossover between Lucas and LCDB3. So LCDB3 is a bit of an open question for the Ministry at the moment. Certainly Lucas was never funded to produce LCDB3. The point that we've got to is that the mapping components that we have produced and the underlying raw satellite imagery could be taken and used for that purpose, but it wasn't a core deliverable for the Lucas program. So I just want to be totally clear about that. It's an open question for the Ministry, LCDB3, because we're thinking about national data sets of national significance, whether it's our core business to be producing those kind of data sets, or whether we're reusers of that information. And we're having an internal debate about that at the moment. So at the moment, LCDB3 is a bit of an open question for us in terms of its form and its function and where it goes and where it ultimately lives. Lucas, on the other hand, has met one of its core deliverables in terms of the first report. We've got an ongoing mapping process that takes us through to close out the commitment period, so we're doing another round of land use mapping for 2012. We've got fieldwork programs in the natural and planted forest across a 4-kilometre and an 8-kilometre grid network across the country. And we're engaging with people like CRIs, Scion, Landcare, those sorts of people to actually help us with that process, to firm up on this element of the equation. So the mapping delivers this, and then all of our fieldwork and science delivers the other bit. What Lucas has done today is identify stuff that was already there, but actually made it explicit. And I don't know whether you remember that Pete Hodgson, when New Zealand first signed up to the Kyoto Protocol, was running around town saying, who wouldn't want to check for $500 million or $500 million? And that went quickly from being an asset to a deficit, and now it's back up to being an asset again. So the team has done an excellent job in, on behalf of New Zealand in the Kyoto Protocol sort of framework. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'd hand over to Andrea now, because I think we've got a few minutes to go. Andrea's going to talk about biodiversity and the natural forest measurement work that you're doing.